Hey guys, it's Todd with the Do Different podcast. Welcome to our latest episode. We got a fantastic guest. This is Laura. She's an executive coach, and we'll have a great discussion. So, Laura, great to have you here. Thanks for stopping in.
Thanks, Todd. Super grateful to be here.
Absolutely. So, for those people out there that don't know you, why don't you introduce yourself and kind of what it is that you're focused on?
Sure, thanks. My name's Laura Shephard. I am an executive leadership coach, and I help those high achievers and leaders in whether you're in corporate or an entrepreneur sort of overcome that burnout phase so that you reconnect with alignment and lead from intention and grasp those opportunities that you really want to go after with energy and enthusiasm. So.
Very cool. So, with that said, like, what do you find in kind of your experience has been the biggest challenge, or what leads most to getting to that, reaching that burnout phase?
Yeah, that's such a great question. And I mean, I'm in Canada, Toronto, so the North American society, has told us what success means typically. And that was me. I climbed the corporate ladder. I was in corporate for over 25 years, and I did all the things. I climbed the ladder. I kept achieving, and it served me super well. Like I got to where I wanted to be. I was living a great life. I had all of the external things that I wanted. And then I woke up one day, tired, exhausted, and realizing that there had to be something more. Like what I did was amazing. I learned a ton and it served me for a while. And then I realized um, something had to change so that I could actually live more into myself and give back and help out others. And that burnout phase for me, that was the wake up where I'm like, I couldn't get out of bed in the mornings. It was tired. I was tired and exhausted all the time, and I wasn't doing all the things in my life that I wanted to do. And so it's kind of like that was a tipping point for me. So that's what I find out most burnout gets to. It's like you give, you give, you give to your work, and you kind of forget about the rest of your life.
It becomes very singular focused, right? Like they're
Yes.
so focused on career and objectives and goals and metrics and growing, 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 that they become, for lack of a better term, they get that tunnel vision of that becomes their world, right? And it's good for you for realizing that there's more than that world. There's all this other stuff that you can devote time and attention to and should.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's like you say, if you want different, do different. And it's like I learned one way and I did well, and then I started reflecting on how, and I got help. How can I reshift where I'm at and use what I am and what are my gifts and what are my strengths? We all know our strengths and weaknesses, at least in the corporate world, and it's deeper. It's deeper than that. And how do you actually tap into your real strengths so that you can start living the strengths and values. So I just want to add values are so important. I think what matters most to us, tapping into understanding truly what matters most to you so that you can live it the way you want to live it. So that was a really interesting values gap exercise that I did with my coach. And it's like, yeah, this is what's important to me. And how are you living it? And I'm like, oh, so there's some gaps happening here. Some of them were good, but there were a couple of big gaps that went, oh, if I want something different, I have to change that.
Right. Yeah, it's like, so many very successful entrepreneurs and C-level suite types, they get so singular focused on the what that,
Mm.
to your point, like they miss the why. Like, why are you putting all these hours in and so focused on it? Is it, you know, why are you doing this? And that realization of I've got a family, or I've got, friends, or I've got this or that, and kind of backing off a little bit to realize and account for why you do things, not just what you're doing, right?
Absolutely. And it's like you say in your book, go, ask yourself 5 times, right? Like keep asking the why to get to the undersurface. And that's where someone like you or myself could help challenge people as well. It's like, is that really the why? What else is happening? You start with it and you see how far you can go. And the other part of that to me is the who. Who do you want to be? So it's who are you as a person that you truly want to be, and all of it sort of interconnects together.
Yeah. And drawing those lines is probably where you play a huge role is identifying the career focus, getting them to realize the other focus, and then you step in to help kind of put those pieces together and say, this is actually who you are, and this is what you're doing.
Exactly. And that's where, and what I find so fascinating with my clients is it doesn't necessarily mean leaving their job, right? Like it's like in leadership and transitions and executive, it's like, but it's realigning within you the who and the why. And then you show up differently in your work and what you do and your life as a whole, right? You figure out what boundaries you need to put up for yourself. You figure out how to lean into what matters most, and you can still keep it's not being ambitious or a high achiever. You can keep being all of those things as long as they're working in alignment with your inner self.
Yeah, and correct me if I'm wrong, but I think a lot of times when people do get to that stage where they discover their why and they've started to commingle it, actually their effort and their stress level goes down, but their performance level actually goes up because now they're tapping into like a higher energy. They got more confidence. They walk differently. They see things differently. They don't know why, but it's because now all aspects of you and your life are working in concert.
You just nailed it right on the head. That's exactly right. It's like your performance totally goes up and your stress and effort goes down. And it's thinking back to, especially I deal with people that are sort of midlife generally. I mean, it can work with anybody, but it's like when you think back in your early career, when those things were aligned and everything, you were getting the energy that you wanted out of it, and now there's something changed. And it's like, how do you get that energy back again? Well, you have to relook at what's important to you, what's your why, and then you can realign that internally so that you're back in that zone.
Yeah, I think as we're younger, it comes naturally to us, right?
Yes.
And as we mature, it becomes less natural, but you have to put intentionality to it. Like you have to be intentional in what steps you're taking and why you're taking those steps.
Yeah, intention is powerful because as we mature, like you say, I mean, we have more responsibilities. You have family, house, kids, care, looking after parents, all of those things. The world, sort of drops more responsibilities on you, and you have to be super intentional about how to show up for yourself and how you want to perform and be in your work and your life and everything else. So yeah, intention plays a huge role.
Yeah. So what in your experience, like what are some of the biggest challenges that you face getting someone to actually look at themselves through that personal lens without or to get them to separate from the professional lens, I guess.
Well, that's a great question. And identity is everything. And that's where I typically start with values. And the challenges are the challenges I see are going deeper, making sure I challenge people on what your real value is, and through conversation and example and questioning, and then and really helping people acknowledge and own the identity that they're living and who they are, because there's nothing wrong with our identities. It's, are they still serving us, right? So but you first have to become aware that that's the identity we're wearing. And a lot of my clients, they're wearing their work life is their entire identity, and they're scared of, if they drop that or let that go, who are they? And so the challenge is the fear of letting go of something. And but oftentimes when you put down the big weight, you can pick up so many other things, and it's not about getting rid of an identity. It's about shifting and understanding and choosing the identity with conscious intention versus just living it in and on automatic.
Right. I saw one time it's been written a variety of different ways and by a ton of different people, but no matter what you achieve in life, no one remembers that. That doesn't find its way to your headstone. But the memories that you create, the relationships that you create, those are the memories that last on in generations and a lot deeper and broader scope of people.
Yeah, I love that. It's how you make people feel, right? Ultimately, yeah, that's the legacy, is how you make people feel in the relationships that you've built. And we all have good and bad days and up and downs, and nobody's perfect all the time. But how it when you lead and show up with intention, then you're consciously creating that feeling that you want people to walk away from you with.
Yeah. And I imagine in your role and dealing with the clientele that you do, you do run into a lot of the I'm actually a CFO, I know better type of attitude. Like I've got this covered. I know what I'm doing. Is that
Yes, absolutely right.
so
So
walk
yeah,
me,
that very trigger.
I was just gonna say, so walk me through like someone when you do encounter someone like that who they've achieved so much in their career, but it's led them to kind of the attitude of I know what I'm doing with everything in my life. How do you approach them to get them to be like you're living a singular focused life right now?
It's a great question. And the first answer to that is they're not ready to do the work. So the first answer is, I'm not sure they're ready, but I get a lot of people that are standing on that sort of that landmine where they're in that intersection of I know all of this, and intellectually we do know most of what we both do in coaching. And it takes how I handle it when they're ready to do the work, and they'll still hold back. But I create with my clients a safe place where it's completely like there's no judgment. They can say and do and feel whatever they need to feel. I mean, with there's safety rules for me too. so
Right.
so not anything goes, but basically safe to be seen and heard. I just help. It's creating the space and the energy for them to actually let go of that identity or look at it. The first step is look at it. And so it's client led. So it's individual on the client, on the different questions and the different paths I'll go in there to help them see it. But they first have to be ready to do the work. Because if you're not ready to actually look at yourself, it can be like I've had clients where it's like, okay, I'm coaching and it's like great, and then we go through a series and they're not really digging in. It's I always suggest it's like, this is great. We can keep going. And are you getting enough out of this for yourself? Because I want to you can only go I want to go deep with people so that they actually get that internal why. And in our society, it's hard to be vulnerable.
Right.
So it's challenging, and that's where the reward happens, right? You go through the path versus trying to avoid it.
Well, it's a lot of people have said it, but we only grow when things are tough.
Hmm.
We don't grow when things are easy. It's like you have to be facing some kind of a challenge to truly get personal or professional growth.
Absolutely right. It's like there has to be some pivot point where it's like, all right, this is uncomfortable now, and you get to choose whether you stay in the uncomfort zone. Like it's choose your hard, I like to say, right? Don't want to change and do stuff. It's hard to stay the same. It's hard to change. It's like there's a cost and to both, right? It's a cost or an investment to grow and a cost to stay the same. And it's there's so much um possibility. I don't want to use the word potential. I was going to say potential. I like it, but I say there's so much possibility within each of us that to tap into it is just, it's profound. And the biggest, you need one big aha from a client, and then they get it and they're willing to keep going. So it's making that first little awareness that's like, whoa, that's an insight I never thought of. Then they're like, oh, okay, I understand this process and I want to keep making change.
Well, yeah, and I think we talked about it before, but it's those two islands and the bridge in between. It's like once you make the decision that you're gonna cross the bridge to get to the better side and take that growth, the first step you got to take is turn around and get rid of the bridge. Like don't leave yourself an out. Like you're not going that way. You're going the other way.
Absolutely right. And that bridge can change directions as you move across it, but as you keep moving across it, the behind you drops away. I like that because it's like it's keep choosing, and it's like choice. It's constant, and I mean, decision fatigue to a certain degree, but and it's like once you choose a path, there's at least a direction, and as you go along that path, we start to see other possibilities around us, and so it's great to change the path if you want to, but the path is just the starting point, and then you see what opens up as you travel the path and you decide to take a detour or not. But that's with choice and intention, like you had said earlier, right? It's like as long as we're intentionally saying, oh, I'm going to explore this avenue because this goal is still over here, but it's never a straight line to a goal.
No, that's the fun part. And that's the part you got to emphasize with people. It's like the fun part is the journey. It's not the destination or where you came from. The fun part is getting there because that bridge is going to move, right? And there's going to be, oh God, I did this before. I'm not doing that again. And this is new. And I like the way this looks. And all of a sudden, what you started off with is not where you're going. But that's the fun part because it's all opportunity.
Oh, I love that because this has taken me a couple of years to internalize myself as a former high achiever where the outcome was always the goal. I've learned to release the outcomes and actually have fun in the process and journey. And it's messy and it's up and down, but I've learned so much more and I've been open to so many more possibilities because of that. It my life is just richer and better because of it. But that is one of the hardest challenges that I find with my clients is releasing that outcome. It's like find the direction, but that's not necessarily the outcome. The outcome could change. And that may be awesome that you because you don't know what you don't know, right? And as you keep learning, you know better. You know the Mary Angelo when you know better, you do better, and you just keep building on that.
Yeah, and I'm sure a big challenge that you face is someone that's like, okay, I'm ready to do this, and yet they're reaching back with the other arm, holding on to the where they started. Like, I'm gonna go. Well, then let go. Well, no, I'm gonna go a little bit, but I got to keep, and getting people to truly release like everything they've been doing because they're sitting there talking to you for a reason. They're either unhappy, unfulfilled, something. And that's part of the process is you got to get rid of what are you holding on to and why?
Yes, that's so true. And that's where, I have a multimodality approach where I actually do NLP work as well and some energy releases somatically. And it's a fascinating process. I bring in the modality that makes sense for my clients. And but releasing that core negative energy and letting go of the limiting beliefs that you have and realizing that there's other ways to approach and do things. I mean, I believe there's so many ways to live our lives. We as the human being have so much possibility and growth in us, and it's up to us to live that, to live to our possibility, and to live the lives that we want to create ourselves. And so, letting go of that holding on because it's comfortable and you know it is one of the hardest things. It's like I'm comfortable in my discomfort because I already know what that means. I'm scared of the future, right? It's that scared of the fear of the what if I can't get anything better? And the best thing is what if you can?
That's exactly that's no that's the perfect way to say it is like when people say, what if it doesn't improve? Just coming back with, okay, I understand that, but what if it does? What are
Hmm.
you going to do with it then? And I was glad to I'm glad to hear that you didn't use the word potential because I can't stand that word because very simply, say someone sets a goal and they're like, the max of my potential is $100,000 a year. Let's just use that for an example. That's my potential is $100,000 a year. What happens when you make 104?
Mm.
Like, did you exceed? Okay, yeah, you exceeded, but why did you limit yourself to that potential? Your potential is whatever you make of it, and your future is whatever you can create from it. Don't be bound by potential of X, Y, and Z. Create whatever you want. And, within life. And, you know, I've never, no one in my family has ever traveled outside the country. Okay. So there's always opportunity for a first, right?
Yes. Be the first, and it's be the first in your own life, right? It's like look at yourself and be the first, and how do you want to create your life? And there are multiple paths and multiple opportunities, and the other thing is we don't have to get stuck with one. The other thing I find my clients are like they get stuck on, but I've put all this effort into here, right? And it's like I don't want to give up that effort. And it's like, okay, but what did you learn from all that effort? And what is that effort brought you? And now is that effort serving you? Or how can you redirect the effort or leverage what you've got versus you're not we never walk away from anything, right? It's taking the learnings from what we have and making the choice in how we want to move forward, in where we want to go. And and so many people in our world today just go forward on autopilot. And you got to become aware first and then be intentional and take the action and get support because it's hard to do on your own. One of my mentors says, you can't see the label from inside the jar, right? It's like someone else can help you see more clearly who and what you are. It doesn't mean that it's not about telling you who you are. It's about guiding you to discover that on your own, right? And what works for you. A great example from someone was trying to give me time management tips because I like to be spontaneous and I'll do something for 2 weeks consistently. And then I'm bored with that. So it's like, that doesn't work for me. And it's like, I had to come up with my own system for how to be organized and stay out time management. Because someone telling me something great for the insights to try it out. And I got to still figure out what works best for me.
Yeah, there's such a huge power in learning and what you can end up doing with it. Because it's one thing to say, I've learned all this stuff. The power comes from, okay, you learned all this. What are you now going to do with it? Like,
Yeah.
be it job wise or personal wise or whatever. Great. You've learned it. That's step one. Like you were actually paying attention to learn from it. Now, how are you going to implement that?
Yeah, implement and embody. For me, when I take things from my head into my heart, I'm like, ooh, okay, I get it. Like that's my process. It's like intellectually, I've known a whole lot of stuff, but until I embody it in my soul, I'm kind of like, ooh, then my implementation process becomes smoother and less resistant, right? And I do have to start implementing intellectually, and then that is sometimes gets me into the embodiment. Oh, I really see how this works, right? And then it becomes part of me, and you keep moving through it. But yeah, embodying and implementation is everything.
Yeah, and I mean, it sounds like a lot of what you work on is helping people discover like who they truly are. or who they desire to be or aim to be, whatever you want to say with it. But taking all those different aspects, the personal, the professional, the all these things, melding it together and being like, okay, like this is truly who you are, everything considered. It just so happens that you're focused on this one. This is kind of set off to the side. We just need to bring that in and live who you truly are.
Yes. Because when you live who you truly are in leadership and in life, as you said earlier, the performance goes up. The alignment is there. And performance in life, whatever that definition is for you, right? It's like helping people choose their identity and to find success for themselves and then see where it can take them. And then you're living in the now versus the past or the future, right? You're living present. You're being present. You're not like forgoing the future. You learn from the past, you have goals in the future, but you're actually living present. And that, when you actually embody it and get that, then everything seems to be lighter and flow better. And it will constantly change, which is a good thing. It means we're still on this earth to learn and grow and change.
Yeah, and that's exactly right. It's the only thing that remains the same is that things change, right?
Yes. It's my favorite saying. The only thing constant in life is change.
And it's so true. And I think people that have gone through like a course with you or whatever and have truly created that life where all aspects of their life are melded together, that's they just they act differently, they walk differently, they perform differently, they enjoy things differently because the they're happy in all aspects, and they're one is playing off of the other rather than I trading one for the other.
Yes, yes, absolutely. And that doesn't mean it's always going to be on in everything. Life is still will throw stuff at you and you have to show, but the point is you get to show up and choose how you want to respond to it, right? And one of my favorite clients told me, he goes, I gave him, and I didn't do this. He says, I gave him agency again of himself, right? And I'm like, I didn't give it to you. You gave it to yourself. You figured out how to do that for yourself. And he goes, and yes, and thanks for supporting me and finding agency for myself again.
Right. It's like, yeah, okay, yeah, that's fine.
Yeah.
So just just kind of a 3 second kind of take on it. Like, do you find that people that work in the corporate world versus people that are entrepreneurs, how do they think and how do they hold themselves differently or similarly?
Ooh, that's a great question. Because people are people.
This podcast does contain thinking sometimes.
You're making me think. Yeah, I love it. A 3 second version, that's hard too. I would say people are people, whether it's corporate or entrepreneurship. Some of the commonalities I find are people have passion and drive and somewhere they want to go or somehow they want to be in the world. And they're that when I come in, it's like they're on this intersection where they don't know how to figure out what that is anymore. So whether they're corporate or entrepreneurs, it's a mindset and it's an embodiment of who you want to be and how you want to lead. How does that land with you?
That was very well said in a 3 second answer that I made you think about. So, but no,
Yeah.
it's true. I think especially when you get to the level of corporate employee or entrepreneur that you're talking about, it would be different if it's like I'm just starting my own company or this is my second job and I'm one step up the corporate ladder, they haven't figured themselves out yet.
Correct.
Whereas, you get to those upper levels, they've got a lot figured out. And so it becomes more about refinement, not about, okay, this is how a CRM works, that type of thought process.
Absolutely. It's about refinement and drawing from what they do best and how they act best and how they interact best and refining that in the world versus completely figuring yourself out. Yeah, absolutely. Because you've been one thing and it's then how do you want to morph into the next thing and or how do you just want to refine who you are so that you don't have all this effort and burnout and, exhaustion.
Yeah. All right. So my last question, and I will allow you to take the cheater's answer. Who is your favorite person to work with? CFO, entrepreneur runs his own company.
Entrepreneur runs his own company.
Okay.
And I should say CFO, and I feel an entrepreneur is got they've got a little bit more agility, thinking mindset to adapt and move through things. So I feel like they go deeper, and I've had CFOs that are awesome as well.
Okay. I gave you the out, so that's all I can do. So
See, both.
there we go. Perfect. A perfect answer. Yes. All right. So Laura, we've got a couple minutes left, so I will kick it over to you. Just kind of summarize what you want people to hold on to, and then we'll kick us out of here.
Awesome. Thank you, Todd, for this opportunity. I truly appreciate it. And yeah, I just want people to walk away with thinking about who they are, right? What is the identity that you're living in now, and is it still serving you? Right? And if it is, that's amazing. If it's not, how do you need to shift or change or discover or explore so that you build on what you already have and make it better and make your life better?
Very awesome. So thank you, Laura, so much for being here. Appreciate it. For the viewing audience out there, like and subscribe below to catch Laura and everyone else that we've talked to. Other than that, you guys have a great day. Thanks for tuning in for the Do Different podcast.